Welcome back to Sippin With Sin Podcast, where we talk about stuff and things and stuff that are important to all and everyone all across this ball that we live on called Earth. It is the number one podcast of such and things proven by people far smarter than us, and this is the what we've been up to part 2, not episode 2. This is like episode 89. We're still getting close to 100, and we're going to crush that goal this year now that we're back. But this is pretty much a recap and a rundown of what's been going on with us since the hiatus. We're just trying to get a catch-up for you guys. Sadly, this episode is not filmed in front of a live studio audience. I postponed that until next week just to get some things ready. But the next episode will be filmed live on Thursday, March 21st it'll start around 7 p.m. Central Time on kick.com/IamSinister. You can come hang out and chat there, and then of course the episode will be up on the audio platforms the following Wednesday, and that way you can come hang out live. You can participate with last call questions, do all that stuff and things, and you get your stuff in there. But without further ado, let's welcome back our one and only, the esteemed colleague himself, Mr. Christian.
How's it going, everybody? Feels good to be back for part 2 of how things have been going.
Part dos. All right, so a little bit different structure just because it's pretty much playing catch-up right now, so we're just going to kind of get into it and continue what we were already talking about and just kind of catching you guys up. During this hiatus, while I've been down and not being able to be alive as much, and we also haven't been recording and doing the podcast as much, I have been playing some games and going through backlog. And we will actually, let me fix, oh no, there we go, see if that's a little better. I don't know if it is or not. I'm actually going to go through some of that and talk about that with you guys. So, go through some of the games I've played. I've played games such as World of Warcraft because I love it, and I went back and I got the itch and I had to go play a little bit. And so I went through it and I leveled a character and played a couple months and waiting for the expansion. So when the new expansion stuff, the pre-patch stuff comes out, I'm sure I'll be playing and we'll be grinding it and doing all that fun stuff and things. I have played Metal Hellsinger for the second time. I played it on PlayStation this time. I had played it on Xbox before. Fun rhythm shooter game, real short. Troy Baker voices the narrator in there, or not the or whatever it is, and I absolutely love it because Troy Baker's a legend. I played UFC 5. Not a lot to talk about there. It's a UFC game. MMA, I'm a big UFC fan. I enjoy MMA stuff, so that was a lot of fun to go through and just be a champion and dominate and knock fools out. I played Ratchet and Clank Rifts Apart. This is my first Ratchet and Clank game, actually. I've never played a Ratchet and Clank game. And shout out to H. H told me I should play it. It's not a super long game, but it's a fun game. And it was. It was one of those games that when I played through it, and as I was beating it and stuff, I was like, wow, this is one of those games you play when you're a kid that makes you fall in love with video games for just being fun, for just being that escape, that good time. And that's what I felt the whole time playing. It was a lot of fun, action. The game looked beautiful.
Sin, let me jump in real quick. I got a question that you just brought to my mind. What, from your memory right now, what's the first video game you played that made you like fall in love with games? Do you remember?
First video game I played that made me fall in love with games. Ooh, that's a good one. Dude, I started early, though. I started Nintendo with, like, track and field, duck hunt, like most people, Mario. What was the game? It's like Super Bases Loader or something. Narc. I'll never forget playing Narc, and that was my first taste to, like, a game that's a little more for a more mature audience, and I was way too young to be playing it, but I got to play it, and I was stoked about it. I want to say it's probably going to be a Super Nintendo game. I'm trying to think.
Okay.
I remember the first... there's 2 gaming memories that really stand out to me. And one is Resident Evil, playing the first Resident Evil for the first time through, and how I felt and how that game made me tense up. It made me feel like most games I played never did, and I was so in love with it, and I don't know how many times I went through it. And then the first time I played Final Fantasy VII. I'd never really played an RPG up until that point, and I played it, and I was so immersed in it. Like,
Okay.
I was just like, I can't stop. These characters are my fan. Like, I was so engrossed. I named people after people in my life. Like, I didn't keep their names. Like, I was like balls deep in it. It was crazy.
For me, let's think. Like, I can't. I don't remember the first game right now at the top of my head that just like made me fall in love with games. Because like you, I started kind of early. Um, I played, obviously I played the Nintendo and everything, Super NES, all those things I played. And I had games at friends' houses, cousins' houses, whatever, what have you. But I'm trying to think, like Mortal Kombat, I want to say is the first one, but I don't think it was a fighting game. Like, I
I
really
don't think it
like
was
Mortal
either.
Kombat. I
Those
really
made me
like,
fall in love with fighting games. Mortal Kombat
sure,
and
sure,
Street
sure.
Fighter.
Street Fighter and
Arcade at
Tekken,
that.
all
Not
that.
even at home. Playing them at the arcade, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I need more of this.
I think, if I'm being honest, right now, off the top of my head, I think the first game that made me fall in love with gaming, um, probably Spider-Man. I think the game was called Separation Anxiety. It's the one where you could play with like Venom and Carnage. It's like a beat 'em up, I think. And I played that, and I played the hell out of that game. And oh, you know what? I'm lying to you. I remember. I remember the game that made me fall in love with gaming. It was an arcade game, and it was called and Spider-Man and his friends or something like that. It was an arcade game, and it was two games at this arcade. You had the Simpsons like beat 'em up arcade game where Maggie gets kidnapped and you have to play as different Simpsons characters in the family to get her back. And then there was a Spider-Man game where you could play as Spider-Man, Namor the Submariner, or who was the other character you could play as? Jeez, I forget the other character. It's like three you can play as. And I mean, obviously I played Spider-Man because it's the dude. So I would play him, and that was like the first one that I played that made me fall in love with games. But the first game that I had that made me fall in love with games, I want to say it was Smash Brothers, but I didn't actually have Smash Brothers. The
I
game
didn't
that made
either.
me fall in love with
I
games
didn't play Smash Brothers
was,
till later in life, honestly.
oh man, it was on the Nintendo 64.
I didn't have
It
a
was
Nintendo
Star.
64 growing up.
Oh man, you missed out.
I
It was
went
Star
Nintendo,
Fox
Super Nintendo,
Adventures.
PS1, like the first PlayStation. That was
Yeah,
my
PS1
lineage.
was such a good system, but like I just didn't live
Twisted
the
Metal's up
type
there
of
too. I
lifestyle.
remember being
Yeah,
in love with Twisted Metal.
I played those games and I loved those games, but I didn't have a PlayStation because we couldn't afford that. So I had to get a Nintendo 64. And I remember playing Star Fox Adventures, like Star Fox 64, excuse me. And I played the piss out of that game. And that was the first game that I played and beat all the way through, and then played it again. But it was different because you could unlock different levels in the game depending on how you beat or how quickly you beat a level. Like it changed my whole. I was like, oh my god, wait a minute, I never seen this before. Who was this person? Like I didn't know that you could run into enemies earlier or later in the game. I didn't know if you didn't take out certain enemies they would come back later. Like none of that I knew. And I remember falling in love with like Falco. Thought he was like the bad boy, right, of the group. He was all cool, and you had Peppy, dual barrel roll, and you had I think Slippy was his name, the Toad, Slippy the Toad. Uh, and like feeling bad if Slippy got taken out by the like that game just really solidified my love for games and just how they could change things for you. But yeah, that was a question I had. I didn't mean to go on a tangent.
No, you're
I want
fine.
to hear the other games
All
that
right.
you've been playing.
Other than that, so I briefly, the wife has been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate 3. I have never played a Baldur's Gate
Ooh,
game, but you can
okay.
co-op it. So me and her I briefly joined her. The catch for me, I have nothing negative to say for the game. I 100% see why it won Game of the Year, why it was even nominated. The game is vast. There's a ton to do, a lot of content. Things can change depending on situations you do, things you say. Like, awesome, fantastic, 100%. It's turn-based stuff, so she was controlling like most of the characters, and then I have my character. So I would wait forever for a move to work or not work, and then I would just be sitting there. So I was just like, So I may go back to it and try it like on my own, not co-oping. But super awesome game. 100% see why it's got the awards and the hype. Not sure if it's necessarily my full cup of tea, but it's a really cool game. I enjoy watching her play it too. Like it's cool, except when she fights like a troll or something for like 4 hours straight. And I'm just like, all right, cool. I'm tired of watching this fight.
Understandable.
All right. So also played Pal World, which is Pokemon
Wow.
with guns. And dude, that was
Is it Pokemon with guns?
I mean, it's not officially Pokemon, but it's like Pokemon. They're called pals.
I mean, like for you, like is that how you actually feel about it?
Yeah, there's guns and there's Pokemon, and you put them to work, and they help build a base and do stuff around a base, and like we'll fight with guns, and like, dude, it's it's a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. We had a community server, and I played it and really, really enjoyed that. Let's see.
I don't know a whole lot about that game, to be honest, because I'm not like on.
It had
Xbox,
like insane sales and hype for like, I don't know, a month and a half or so. Like it was crazy, the sales.
I haven't watched like the gameplay for it, but I've just been hearing like the buzz about it, and it seems cool. But I haven't like talked to a live person.
It's fun.
Yeah,
but for me though, I enjoy those base building survival style games. So me building like a base and doing stuff, and then catching like it's essentially like Ark and Pokemon had a baby. So both like it's up my alley because I love Ark. Moving on past that though, I also played Helldivers 2, which if you don't know what Helldivers 2 is, think Starship Troopers, and that's essentially Helldivers, which is fantastic. I also watched Starship Troopers again because I was playing Helldivers, and I had to which my wife informed me that she lost brain cells, and I was like, you don't know. You just don't know.
What? She doesn't like it?
She just said it was dumb, and I was like, listen, you don't understand. When that movie came out, I was like, this movie is fantastic.
Dude.
Rico
Starship Troopers is one of my all-time favorites. I know what I'm getting into when I watch it.
Yes, it's cheesy as hell, but God, it's so good.
God damn, it's so good.
It's so good. I love it.
Are you
doing your part? Like, that's literally Helldivers. That's how Helldivers is. How about a nice cup of liberty? Like, they say shit like that, and I'm just like, oh, this is wonderful. I love it.
Only good bug is a dead bug.
Like, that is literally it. The bugs look just like it. There is no PvP, but there is friendly fire, and you will get absolutely blown up. So Helldivers is a ton of fun. A lot of fun with people. Like, it's had a lot of success. Happy to see that. I played Saints Row and finished it. It is a game I had started a while back. I think I tried to get you to play with me. I know TJ played with me some. Shout out to TJ. But a lot of fun. Again, another game that it's not too serious, and it was just a video game. And I don't know if that, like, really resonates with some people. If you're not a gamer, it probably doesn't. There's games where it's, like, the story. Like, I think of Last of Us. I don't necessarily – yes, it's a video game, but I think of the story. Like, it's an experience. It's damn near like playing a movie. Like, if you play Heavy Rain or something, right? And then there's, like, video games where you know, like, is the story going to be something that's going to, like, grip you? Probably not. But are you going to have a damn good time playing it and just fun and laugh? Yeah, it's one of those, and I enjoyed it. I played Callisto Protocol, which I was a slacker in playing it, and I finally got to play it. And it's very Dead Space. I believe some of Dead Space former team did it, right? I think that's right. Very Dead Space. Creatures are very Dead Spacey. It's okay. It's not bad. It's definitely that Dead Space horror, survival horror thing in space. It looked beautiful. It was a gorgeous game. Short, not bad. One I have a feeling you're going to say something about. It was kind of a surprise launch. Very, very short game. Like, I'm talking maybe 3 hours. Silent Hill Short Message. I played it because obviously anything Silent Hill is going to get my attention. So I had to check it out. Dude, that game, for a 3-hour game, first off, had some annoying ass parts where I was like, I wish this flower monster would get off my ass and leave me alone. But it dealt with a lot of mental health and stuff that young adults and teenagers and stuff deal with nowadays. Everybody really. So it was definitely a very, while it's like the normal Silent Hill creepy horror, switching to the alternate, dimension stuff, it dealt with real life problems, and I thought that was pretty cool. I believe it even touched on COVID. So, I mean, it definitely pulled from like modern stuff, and I thought that was pretty dope. And it made me even more excited for the Silent Hill 2 remake, as well as there's one that's being made. I cannot remember what it's called. Silent Hill something, but it's based in Japan. Have you seen when they announced a bunch of them. One of them, it's like a newer one. It's based in Japan, and I was like, oh my god, I can't wait for that. That's gonna be like, I'm so excited. It had like, that to me sounded really interesting. Had you played Silent Hill Short Message at all?
I didn't play it, no, but I did watch. I didn't, not all of it, obviously, but I watched a little bit of the gameplay just to see what I would be getting into, and I mean, it looked pretty damn fun. I can't lie.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Silent Hill. There's no real like combat stuff. It's more just surviving and trying to like solve the little puzzly-ish things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on. I played Alan Wake. I think we had talked about that in the previous episodes. The original Alan Wake, as well as the DLCs, and I can't remember what all they were called. There was like maybe 2 or 3 DLCs, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Played through them, and then I played Alan Wake 2 and completed it. Alan Wake 2, I see why it's getting the awards. It is, they definitely pushed the envelope with a lot of stuff. Like, it was pretty cool going from live action and taking, I think he's the studio head who's actually playing a character in it. And I don't want to say too much and ruin anything, but I think he's the studio head. He was on the Game Awards, and they kind of did like a little number. But it's really cool how they do that and how they've grown the game and everything. It's definitely if you're a horror fan, definitely check out Alan Wake 2. It was an experience. I have also, have you played Alan Wake 2 yet? You haven't, have you?
I haven't played it. I watched some gameplay, only because
it's crazy.
It like up until like literally super recently, like just money has been a whole fucking thing. But yeah, we're getting there, and I fully plan to get it and play it all the way through. Just hadn't happened.
I platinumed it. I'm proud of myself. I got the
You
platinum.
did platinum it. I was gonna ask you that.
I did. I'm very proud of that. I will say this though, at the beginning of the game, I was lost as hell just running around. Like, I don't know what it was, but I just could not find my way around the world. You're like in the woods, and I was just like, where in the hell am I at? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. So that was fun. Past that, I have been playing Spider-Man 2. And Baldur's Gate, Spider-Man 2, as well as Alan Wake, all were involved in Game Awards quite a bit. And Final Fantasy 16, which I'm planning on playing either next or soon, I think was also involved, and Resident Evil 4, which we've talked about that previously. But Spider-Man 2, I am currently playing it. Have not beat it yet, working on it. I'm also trying to platinum it. I want to say I'm maybe halfway through right now. But I wanted to do a comparison. I actually said this to the wife earlier. So, Alan Wake, as a horror fan and everything, I'm so glad I played it. I did enjoy it. I'm glad to experience it. I 100% see why it was up for awards. On a fun level, though, there's something about swinging around the city, doing crazy spider tricks, punching people, kind of like back in the Batman Arkham series. There's just something about that that's just fun. You can just spend like an hour and not even like doing side stuff and fighting crime, doing things and like swinging and tricks and all that stuff. It's just something fun about that. I genuinely really enjoy Spider-Man 2, and I have been, and I'll definitely update you guys as I beat it. I did want to make a quick thing without derailing Christian.
Yeah.
I've been, especially in this game, which this game could be heavily influencing me, but Peter Parker has been my Spider-Man for, my whole life, right? As pretty much everybody, right? Like, Peter Parker's pretty much, he is Spider-Man. The more I'm exposed to Miles, the more I play Miles, the more I get to know Miles, the more I think I'm ready for the torch. And I don't know comic anything, and I don't want Christian to go off the rails, but I think I'm ready for Miles to be my Spider-Man. Like, I like the whole mentor, all that stuff. Like, I'm kind of, I think, to that point where, like, Peter, you've done like my whole life. You've been here. Let's let the young pup take over, now, and let's get the Miles Spider-Man, because I really enjoy his stories, his interactions, his cast of people from Genki to Haley to his mom, even the Prowler, his uncle, which I think that's canon, right?
Yes.
Okay. Like, I genuinely really enjoy, and I enjoy him as Spider-Man. I like his costumes for the most part. There's some that are really goofy on there, but that's the same with Peter.
Oh, wait, just wait till you get to the game.
There's some that's like wonky, but Yeah, it's so far. I really enjoy it. I knew I would.
Let me comment on that,
Then I have one more game after
Spider-Man.
that I'll talk about, and then we'll move to
Okay,
the next thing.
I'm gonna comment on Spider-Man because I want to comment on the game itself really quickly, and then Miles. On the game itself, I absolutely loved
Insomniac
Spider-Man
has done a
2.
great job with Spider-Man, Miles Morales, the Miles Morales add-on DLC, whatever you want to call it. Like I know it's kind of a standalone one thing, whatever. And then this one, to me, I feel like they've crushed it. It's been fun.
Yeah, I actually didn't play the standalone, the not DLC, but DLC. But I played Spider-Man. I played the crap out of the game. Cried at the end of that game like a baby, and I played the second one. And the Spider-Man games, they changed the lore of Spider-Man to fit what they need it to be, but it works so well for the games. They make it work, and without ruining the story for you, Sin, like you haven't gotten to the end of the game. I don't even know if you've met Venom yet.
I have not. Where I am
okay.
currently, I know Venom's coming. I know he's voiced by Tony Todd, but where I am, Peter has the symbiote right now.
Okay,
and Peter's starting to be he's starting to become an ass.
Okay, so I'll say this and then I'll be done. I love the comic book version of Venom. I love the comic book accurate versions of all the characters, obviously, because that's how I learned them. That's how I grew up. I love the 90s animated series version of them because also a part of my childhood. This game does change a lot of things, but damn it, they did it, though. They did it.
I mean, Harry having the symbiote to start with is different. Like, already,
it's
right?
very different, but it works.
No, it does work. Like, I actually really like Harry so far. I don't know where he's going to go. I've only seen, like, obviously the symbiote just left him when stuff happened to Peter. Those that haven't played, I don't want to say anything right now.
Right.
But I genuinely really like Harry in this so far. He may turn around to be where I'm like, Harry, you piece of trash. But
I liked Kraven for the most part in the game.
I'm not
gonna talk about things I didn't like until you beat the game. Okay. Then we'll talk about it. So I'm gonna move on. Miles. I've always like
Miles's hair and Miles's build, I think, in this. If that makes sense.
I'm not gonna comment on that for the game yet because you need to get to the end of the game. But strictly talking about the game, I love Miles. I think he's great. I like him as a character, as a comic book character, all that stuff. He, like you just said, he's not my Spider-Man, but he is Spider-Man, 100%.
It's essentially this is equivalent to us being like, Bruce Wayne is what we know for Batman, but it's almost time to pass the torch, kind of thing. You know, like that's pretty much what we're saying. Like this is what we know, but to me, just like the more I get used to this character, the more I'm learning about this character, the more I'm like, you know what?
I'm glad you said that because you inadvertently got me to where I was trying to be. With Batman, Bruce Wayne is Batman. Bruce Wayne is the only person in my brain and my heart that can be Batman. He's the only one. Like Robin can come in and like fill in, but Robin's not Batman, right? But with Spider-Man, Miles is Spider-Man. Miles can.
And there's a reason when they're talking, the subtitles say Spider-Man. Like they're both Spider-Man. It's not Miles is Spider-Man or Peter. Like you know, obviously which one's which, but they're Spider-Man. Like they're both that identity.
Yeah, but yeah, and to just hammer the point home more. If Peter in the comics and the movies and the games, anything, Miles is Spider-Man, can take over being Spider-Man 100%, that he's Spider-Man. But when it comes to a character like Batman, I only believe it if it's Bruce, right? Like it's not to say people can't put on the mask. It's not to say people can't do the same, kind of shit that Batman does, that Bruce does. I'm not saying that. That can happen, right? But there is only one Batman. There are more than one Spider-Man. And if Peter isn't Spider-Man, like I never question it with it being Miles. He's Spider-Man. Yeah. It's the same.
I like Miles.
I feel the same
I'm a fan
feelings.
of Miles. Like I said, Spider-Verse definitely has. I've learned more about Miles through that, and then obviously the games, and it's just the more I learn about him, the more I like him. Honestly, the more I become a fan of Miles.
Okay, understandable.
Moving on to the final game I played. It's one I'm hoping you're curious about. But this is a game I stalled. Like, I was so intrigued with when it was announced and all the lead up, and I really wanted to know. And a lot of people, well, not TJ mainly has hyped this game to no end. And although I swear his favorite game of all time is a revolving door of like 3 or 4 games, this is one he says is there, and I finally finished it. I was like, damn it, I'm going to beat this game. I had started once and got I don't know how far and stopped, and I started over, and I was like, I'm beating it. I'm going to not let myself slack off. I am going to dedicate and beat it, and I did it, and I'm proud of myself, and I'm so happy that I did that because this game truly, and I'm not saying this lightly, is like no game I've ever played before, and it is an experience. Is it my favorite game of all time? No. But it is an experience that I feel any gamer should try. Is it everybody's cup of tea? 100% no. It is vastly different just from all of it. But it is beautiful. The story is crazy sci-fi. And this game is Death Stranding.
Wow.
Death Stranding is, I honestly, as I was playing, I was like, what can I compare this to? And I have nothing. I have nothing to compare it to. You are essentially a post-apocalyptic delivery man. So I don't really know what you compare. Like, you can say it's a running simulator. You're climbing damn mountains in like terrain, and you have to shift your weight, and you have to do all this stuff. But then there is also combat, and there's these sci-fi elements of all this stuff going on. And then there's like these BTs, these like undead, like, or not undead, these like ghostly spectral figures that can attack, and there's like this black goo, and just there's so much stuff in this game. It is crazy. But when the credits rolled, which, oh my God, Kojima and his damn dragging out the ending, I probably sat there for 2 hours. I was like, all right, I'm at the end. Oh no, I got to do this now. I'm at the end for real now. Nope, got to do this now. This probably went on for 2 hours. And like the credits rolled probably 2 or 3 times. And I was like, it's over. And then you do something else. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, what is happening? But it is an experience. I am so glad I did it and I played it. I don't know what to compare it to. It is interesting. It is a longer game, though. It's going to take you a while. And I didn't do all the side missions because I was like, you know what? I will be here forever if I try to do this. So I like did some, but I tried to stick to staying on the main stuff, and I did. Like I did some just to get level up, whatever. The interactive system with the online, where if Christian put a ladder here, he could share it, and then I might see the ladder, and I could give you a thumbs up like a social media network. That shit's crazy. Because my world, from when I started, and I started even building a road, to the end game where I saw roads and I saw ladders and I saw shit everywhere that people had built and played the game and were still doing it, and you would log in and be like, your road got 100 light, like all this. I'm like, that's just crazy. Very different, very innovative, and I plan on playing Death Stranding 2. I don't know how soon I'll get to it, but I definitely want to play it. It was an experience. Christian, have you played it all? Is it any interest to you?
It's not my cup of tea, but I do think it's a great game. I don't have anything.
It's not everybody's.
Really.
Like I said, if you want a shooter or you want like this is, I don't really know what you put this in category wise, because you can't say, oh, it's an RPG. Oh, it's a first person shooter. There's shooter elements in it. Is it a lot? Not really. I don't know. I don't really know. Like, it's its own kind of thing, and that's why it's really hard to describe it.
I just like, for being fully transparent, like, I think that game is good. It's just not a game that
you don't want to spend 40 hours on it.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't speak to me in the way I need it to speak to me in order to put the time in to get where you need to be. It's just that part. I'm just not the person for that type of game. That's honestly all it is. But yeah, I don't have much more to say than that. Like, I think the game is well made. I think it looks amazing. I think that the people who put the time in and played it and got what they needed out of it, like, they really got what they needed out of it. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. And I don't think it's for everybody. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about it. I'm interested in 2. Mainly, I wanted to know the story because the marketing was so vague. It was so vague. Like, they didn't really show you anything. And it's pretty crazy. But for the sake of time, I'm going to move on because I'm sucking all the time right now. I've watched a bunch of movies and shows, a lot of which Christian has not seen yet, so I don't want to go into them. But there's one we have collectively seen together, and I feel like this is going to be pretty much in unison, an agreement. If it's not, I'm going to be thoroughly shocked, and we're going to have a debate on this. But I watched Exorcist Believer, and I'm pretty sure on this podcast voiced that neither one of us had any expectations, really, mainly because the group that was doing it dropped their pants around their ankles and just took a steaming pile of shit right on Halloween for the last 2 movies, pretty much, essentially. So, with them taking over Exorcist, I was like, wow, what are they going to do? Maybe the first one will be good, kind of like 2018 Halloween, and then the rest will be, boo-boo shoes. Well, I was wrong, especially after the first trailer came out. I was like, nope, this is about to suck. And you know what? The movie sucked. The movie is awful. I'm sorry. I watched it, and afterwards I was like, I don't care to watch that again. That sucked. You should have just left it alone, honestly. It was cool they brought back the mom, but she served, like, no purpose. She was worthless in the movie, essentially. Like, what is she going to do? She's going in there, she's like, we've met before, demon. And the demon's like, hey, fuck you. It's like, the movie sucked. I'm sorry. There's really, like, nowhere around it. It was not good. I didn't enjoy it. I don't really care about the rest of the trilogy. Will I watch them? Yeah, probably just to say I've seen them, but do I really care to see them? No. If I don't watch them, am I going to be mad? Absolutely not. I'll be like, give me the Cliff Notes. I'm good.
We feel about the same. I think I hate the movie a little more than you do. I'd rather watch Halloween Ends than to watch this movie again.
I don't really know what they were trying to accomplish. This is not good. In the age of, what are these, requels? Is that what you're doing where you're picking up like years after the original?
Yeah.
It's not good. The whole time I watched it, me and the wife both were just looking at each other like, ugh. Like, we knew this was going to suck, but okay. Let's just get through it.
This movie felt, without running the risk of talking forever, this movie felt like a cash grab, right? They
brought the Exorcist name, and that's it.
Yeah, we're like, hey, we're gonna bring this character back to get people to go see it, but the movie's the first, like, what was it, the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes of the movie? I was like, all right, we're getting somewhere, we're into something. I got this, we're in it, let's do it. And then they just, like you said, they just took their pants down and just like diarrhea shat all over what they were building. And I feel like
everything they did, they contradicted themselves during the movie too. Like, they would do something or bring somebody, and then it just wouldn't matter. And I'm like, okay, cool.
It's like I said, I don't want to talk about it forever, just because we'll talk. I'll talk about it all day. We're out of time. The movie was bad. This was one of those movies where after you finish watching it, you're like, damn, I should have did something else.
Yeah.
Like,
no, 100%. I just wasted, an hour and 30 minutes of my time?
Yeah. I'm not the type of person that puts a movie on and then goes to do something else and just kind of listens to a movie. Like, I'd rather listen to a podcast or music or whatever. But I will say, like, this is one of those movies where if I needed to do laundry, like fold clothes, whatever, and this movie was on in the background, then that's the only time it's useful. Other than that, you're doing yourself a disservice by even having this movie on. And that's all I'll say.
Okay. Fair enough. There's a movie I really, really want Christian to watch, just so he can talk about it, and he's probably seen stuff about it.
Oh, what is it?
Saltburn.
I've seen a little bit about it, but I've purposely been staying away from anything that can be spoilery, just because I do want to watch it. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it.
The wife had seen all kinds of stuff, and so she was like really, because we've watched Euphoria and stuff, right? And so the actor Jacob something.
There? That's in the movie?
Yeah, he's in Saltburn. I think his name's Jacob, right? Taller guy. He was gonna
You
be
got me.
Frankenstein, and then they've I don't think he's doing it anymore.
I don't know.
Well, anyways, one of the main characters, he was in it, so she's like, I want to watch it. Well, then realized,
Jacob Elordi or something.
yeah, he's like kind of
that
hot
guy.
right now in Hollywood. I feel like you're casting for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the other guy, and I'm drawing a
Barry
blank.
Keoghan.
Who?
Barry Keoghan, the guy that played the Joker
Yes.
in Batman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Barry.
And the Batman.
Yeah. It took me a second, then I realized that was him, and I was like, the more I saw him in the movie, the more I was like, you are making me even more interested in your Joker. I am, like, I was already open. Heath Ledger opened my mind to accepting castings that I'm like, I don't know. Because initially I was like, Heath Ledger's a Joker. Like, Jack Nicholson's a Joker to me. Like, this it's not registering. Then when I saw it, mind changed. So now I'm more open to stuff. Jared Leto, we're not talking about your Joker. We're just not talking about it. Anyways, what he did in that little excerpt in Batman, I was intrigued with. Seeing his face outside of the makeup, like the facial features and some of the ways he smiles and stuff, I'm like, I'm kind of seeing it more. And I was like, okay. But I want you to watch it because there are 3, 4 scenes that are like a lot of reactions about.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see them beforehand. And the wife had seen them, so she was kind of waiting. And I would just be like, okay, what the shit? Like, so I want you to watch it, and I can't wait. I especially would love to talk about this live on when we're recording these live, because that will, oh man,
all right,
they're there. I don't want to say anything and like ruin it. I just want you to experience the movie. I went in with no precursor, really knowing what the hell this movie was. I just knew it was. I think it's on Prime Video.
Yeah, it's on Prime.
That's another one I've watched that Christian hasn't seen, so that's one that I'm hoping we'll discuss soon. But let's move along to, I think Christian's got some stuff to talk about, so let's get into some of your stuff.
So keeping it on movies for a second, we actually both watched this movie, and we probably saw it about the same day, to be honest. But we both watched Dune Part 2.
Yep.
And I have some thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts first, and then we'll go into what I think.
Honestly, you should have my wife giving thoughts over me. My wife, we watched Dune 1 whenever it come out. Her dad was talking about hyping up, and we watched it. And I didn't even know it was a remake of an 80s movie at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think that movie's awful. Right? Isn't it pretty bad?
It's cringe for sure.
Okay.
It's a cult classic.
Yeah.
But
okay. Fair.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Dune. I was like, okay, this is a really good sci-fi movie. Like, I dig it. It's interesting. It's got a good cast. It's good acting. My wife though took it to another level. Like, I was like, this is a really good sci-fi movie. I enjoy it. Like, I would watch it again. She has watched it a ton.
The first part, yeah.
Yeah. She's watched it a ton. She's read the books. She says a lot of the books get not great. Like, I forget, after so many, she's like, you might as well just not read them. Like, it kind of gets...
I'm curious who her favorite character is. That's what I want to know.
I will actually text her while I'm talking about it. But, okay. When you go into your stuff, I'll actually text her. That way I don't, like, sidetrack us. So, she has been very excited for Dune 2. I've been excited. But I'm not to the level, like, I told her on the way to the theater, I was like, you're being extra. Like, you need to settle down. Like, you're on about a 15, and you need to come down a little bit, because, like, just chill. She also thinks Timothée Chalamet is quite attractive, but she didn't at first. But the more she's watched the movie, she's like, he is a handsome man. I'm like, okay. So that's helping with the excitement to go watch the movie. And we watched it with her cousin and husband. I feel like me and him were about on the same wavelength, and they both were like on a 15. Like, they were damn near sprinting to the theater, like all this stuff. I was like, bro, we got like 20 minutes, chill. Like, what is y'all's problem? They're like getting the seats, getting all ready, and they're just like amped up. I'm like, man, this is a 3-hour movie. I need you to calm down. Okay, so enough of that. Dune 2, I think, is really good. I don't have a lot of context. I haven't read the books. I know stuff she told me. Pretty much Dune 2 wraps up the first book. It's the conclusion of the first book, correct?
Yes.
Like 1 and 2 are the first books, and then it will pick up with the next book, because I'm assuming, especially, there's going to be a third one. I just don't see how they're not doing a third one.
Didn't even know the director.
It's actually funny. I guess the wife just heard me talking about it. She just texted and said, I could have given you plenty of notes.
Yeah, I mean, she still can.
Yeah. Send them
she still
your favorite character. There you go. Or
I feel like I know who her favorite character is.
who do you think it is? Who do you predict?
So if she tells me her favorite character from the books, I think her favorite character from the books is going to be Aaliyah. And I think her favorite character
Who is Aaliyah? Is that Paul's daughter or sister?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that'll be her favorite character.
I will say that she said something. If you haven't watched Dune 2, I have a feeling Christian's going to spoil stuff, and so we're just going to go ahead and give a spoiler warning right now.
Mm-hmm.
There is your thing. She did say that they changed some stuff that she kind of wishes they may have even broke it up and made it a third one with the first book, because there was a big time jump apparently in the book where what'd you say the sister? I didn't know the sister's name. What's the sister's name?
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah?
Yeah.
Okay. That she comes out and she is one that ultimately does what Paul does in the movie. Via the Baron, with the Baron. I'm trying to keep it semi-vague.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I will say this though. I noticed right away the heavy religious symbolism and stuff in it.
Yeah, dude. So the director, not the director. What
was it? There's a comment. I'm trying to think who says it. I kind of think it's Zendaya, but says something about they give these prophecies and these things to control you. It's their way from the north or south or whatever. It's like they're controlling, thinking that the Messiah is coming, that the prophecy is going to be fulfilled, and it controls the people the whole time. And it's just really interesting how that's to me, that's a really heavy part of this movie. Is prophecies and
she's correct. What she said is true. So I know you haven't read the books and your wife has.
No, I'm just saying that's what I got from the movie. That's not even
that's all by design. So that is true. What Shawnee says, Zendaya's character, what she says in the movie, that is true. So
oh my god,
Paul being
she's writing me a book. She's in there nerding out. She's like, let me just tell you.
Yeah, get his ass. Get him.
Paul, of course, is her favorite, and Jessica and Stilgar. And she put Aaliyah's sister.
Okay, so she just picked everyone?
Yeah, pretty much. She's picking the whole damn cast. Who the hell is Jessica?
That's Paul's mom, Lady Jessica.
I'm not a fan of her right now. She says she gets badass later on. I don't really care
Jessica
for her in part 2.
She's a badass the whole time.
I don't really like her in part 2. I'm just kind of I kind of want to thump her in the head.
Why don't you like her?
I just didn't like her.
What's wrong with her in part 2?
I just want to thump her in the face. It's will you stop?
Oh my god. So
right in the tattoo.
Oh my god. Right in the tattoo. So
I don't know.
I will say though,
the way she was doing stuff, I was just I felt Paul was very conflicted. He's extremely conflicted the whole time because he sees stuff.
Yeah, Paul is. The Fremen, the people, they call him the Lisanal.
Now she's defending
right?
Jessica, by the way.
She what?
She's defending Jessica. Jessica's a badass. She's doing everything she can to solidify Paul's future and safety.
Jessica's the shit. Everything she does for.
I didn't know her name was Jessica. I'll be honest.
The sake of her children. But the Lisan al-Gaib, they call him that, which is essentially Arabic for a voice of the outer world, I believe, is what it means. Prophet, right? So Muad'Dib is what the name that he chooses for himself,
which
in the movie. He's like, hey, what's that little desert mouse? It's called the Muad'Dib. Yeah. But the thing that he's supposed to be, the prophet that he's supposed to be is called the Muad'Dib. So Paul is slick. he chose his name to be Muad'Dib on purpose because Muad'Dib means prophet. So he did that to further essentially trick these people into believing that he is the Lisan al Gaib, excuse me. And like it's so good. The author Frank Herbert like knew what he was doing when he started writing these books. He did research for like 6 years before he actually started the story up. So like he was on his shit, and he pretty much said like he wanted to make a story about like a white savior character, which is what Paul is. But he wanted the white savior character to be conscious that that's what he was. That is why Paul is like, I really don't want to be these people's prophet. Like, I don't want them to start a holy war because of me. Like, I don't want another jihad. Like, all this stuff. He's saying all that because he's like, yo, I'm just a white dude coming in here and like, giving these people hope and blah blah blah. He didn't want to do that, but he needed to anyway. And a lot of that stuff becomes true once he takes the water of life, which we saw the worm piss as they call it in the movie. But he does all these incredible things, and because of the spice and because of the that stuff, like it opens up his mind and his like foresight. I forget what it's called in the book right now because I'm so excited to talk about it. But he is able to do and see all these things. So it's super dope. But some of the stuff that may be confusing for people watching the films who haven't seen the movie, like his sister, he is talking through Lady Jessica
because
in the
of the worm
movie.
piss.
Yeah, because so the thing
You're
that
not
they
supposed to do it pregnant or something, and it gives her like it pretty much advances her according to what I was told. Like when she comes out, she's talking like a grown ass, intelligent human as like a small child.
Yes, and so in the Bene Gesserit in the movies, they call Paul an abomination. They call him what is it? What's the word? It's like the thing that they're trying to make. Shoot, how do I forget this all of a sudden? Like it's because I'm so excited. I'm trying to talk about it. But he isn't actually the thing that they are talking about. It is more so his sister, and it's because of that. Like the water of life that Jessica takes, she doesn't know that she's pregnant going into it. So the consciousness of Aaliyah gets opened up like immediately, so she can see all these times, communicate with other people, do all this stuff. She does all of this stuff early on in life, and it's insane. But it's dangerous though. It's not good. it's which you find out later in the books. Like there is a consequence for the shit that is happening, and this is why they'd never do this with pregnant women. Like it. Oh my god, I don't really want to like ruin too much of the story and the characters. But Aaliyah is a really cool character, flawed for sure, but she's dope. Like there's so much going on, but God, I can't wait to see.
Can I say another thing that bothered me in it? It's a really small, stupid thing.
Sure.
I can't think of the character's name. It's the main bad guy.
Like the
new
like
one,
the Baron or Fade.
Yes.
Fade Rafa.
Yes. His walk drove me crazy.
I mean, it's better than what you got in the '80s version.
He's like, dude is straight up, and if you're on YouTube, dude's like, I'm just strutting around here. I'm like, oh my god, get out of here. Somebody kick.
I mean, he could be the same as Paul, right? Like that's the whole point of his character.
She did mention that somebody, I think her cousin brought up like Austin. I can't think of that. Butler, thank you. He played Elvis, and he's played a bunch of stuff recently. But it was like, I think they said something like, I feel like he was a waste because he didn't really. They built him up to like, pretty much he's not going to be around. Spoilers for the next movie. But they kind of hyped him up, and my wife's response was she was happy with what they did because pretty much he has a tiny role in the book. Like he's really not significant in the book.
Yeah, so he's in the book for sure. Like they do the whole knife fight and shit in the book, but he doesn't have. She is correct. His role isn't nearly as big because he's not he shows up and he's essentially just another pawn of the Bene Gesserit, right? They just have him there essentially in case they can't control Paul, like they'll just use him. That's all it is. So
Why did I
they
not
make
know
him
Christopher
bigger.
Walken was the Emperor? Was he the Emperor in the first one? Did I miss that?
They didn't show the Emperor in the
Okay,
first
because
one.
when he showed up, I kind of laughed a little bit, like under my breath when I saw Christopher Walken. I was like, it's Christopher Walken.
Yeah. Like I could talk about this movie
Also,
for days.
one of the actors from Death Stranding is in it, and I cannot remember her name, but she is not the one that Paul is offering his hand to. So it's not the princess, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like
Mhm.
one of the it's the one that gets with Fabe, and I guess they get the bloodline in her. Do you know what I'm talking
Mhm.
about?
Mhm.
She kind of seduces him at one point.
Yeah.
I don't know her name, but she's fragile in Death Stranding.
Oh, okay. Okay. Like
Uh,
there are like Duncan's character from the first movie, the guy who was played by
Momoa.
yeah,
Duncan's
he
Jason
comes
Momoa, right?
back. Yeah. He
I love
comes
Josh
back.
Brolin in it. I will say that. Stilgar? No, he's not Stilgar.
Mm-mm.
It's let's start with a G.
Ernie.
Gurney.
Mm.
Yeah, I like Josh Brolin's character a lot. I also like Stilgar. Stilgar is the leader of like that group, right?
Of
Essentially,
that particular group,
yeah.
yeah.
I like him.
In that
What has
group,
he
you
been
have
in?
to
It's been bugging me.
the guy that played the Stilgar plays. He's
Yes.
been in everything. That's Javier Bardem. He's been
Okay.
in everything.
I saw his face and I was like, I've seen you before a lot, and I just cannot think of.
He was the villain in No Country for Old Men.
No, really?
Mhm. The main bad guy that gives those dope ass speeches, killing people with the cattle
Yeah,
thing.
that's him.
Yeah.
That's No Country Guy.
Yeah, he was also the father of Ariel in the new Little Mermaid.
I haven't watched that.
He's been in a ton of shit, man. Like he's in a lot of stuff.
Wow.
He's in a lot of stuff. He's
Okay.
in let me think. He's in so much shit, dude. He's in I'm trying to think of stuff that you would see. He was in Skyfall. He was in I don't know if you saw the movie. Nah, I don't think his part was big enough for that to make sense. He was in the really bad Pirates of the Caribbean movie, the last one that came out, Dead Men Tell No Tales. He
Okay.
was in that.
Yeah.
He was the villain. He was in Mother, if you saw that with Jennifer Lawrence. He was in
I knew his face was very familiar, and he had been in a lot of stuff, but I just
yeah.
wasn't sure what. Okay. The No Country thing, that throws me off. Like, I don't even see it. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about. I can see him. I just can't picture him. But maybe it was the beard and.
It's because he didn't have a beard. He was clean shaven, and that was also what 2007.
Yeah, it's been a long time
but
ago. With Brolin, actually, too. He was with Josh Brolin in that.
Yeah, he was with Josh Brolin. Yeah, okay. He's been all over the place, man. He's been all over the place.
Completely side note. Talking about actors that I didn't recognize. You realize Kingpin, the actor that plays him, Vincent.
D'Onofrio.
Yeah. Do you realize he was the bug guy in the first Men in Black?
Yeah.
Like the sugar water, like that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I found that out, and my mind was blown. I was like, "That's not the same dude." And then I looked up, I was like, "Oh my god, that's the same dude, just a young version of it." Like that turned into the Kingpin. Sugar water turned into freaking King.
He was him. He was his like most famous role was Full Metal Jacket. Remember him in that?
He was in that too.
Yeah, he was the. Have you seen Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah.
He's the soldier who fucking went crazy after they beat his ass with the rope and then killed himself. That's him.
Wow. Okay. Things you learn. All right, going back. Sorry, we derailed.
But yeah, Stilgar is a fucking ride or die in that movie. I will say one thing I didn't like. I didn't necessarily like their characterization of Chani. Like Chani in the books is fantastic, and like they give her a little bit more agency in the movie. I will say, because in the book she's like Paul's love interest, straight up, like his concubine is what they call her. She's straight up a love interest in the book, and she serves her purpose, and her purpose is actually pretty cool, to be real with you. But in the movie, because of Zendaya, like they give her more stuff to do, and they make her question Paul more. They make her question the other Fremen more. They make her question a lot of stuff, a lot more in this, which is fine. But there were some things that her character does that I just really didn't gel with in the movie. So like the melodrama that she has with Paul and stuff, like I wasn't feeling some of that. The ending, like the supposed cliffhanger ending that we get, I wasn't really a fan of that. Um, and then she does like one other thing I don't like necessarily in the movie, but I love the movie. The movie's like a 9.5 for me. It's almost a perfect 10. Like I love this movie, and watching it just makes me want to go back and watch Dune Part One and then watch this one again. Like I want to spend a whole day just watching Dune because I love these movies.
The
Timothy
the wife
Chalamet, like
said to justify or like hammer home the Stilgar is one of her favorite characters. She said Stilgar is very loyal and basically Paul's second in command in the books. That's why she likes the Stilgar character.
Very true. Stilgar is like I said, he's a ride or die, right? Like Paul wants Paul to be the Lisan Al Gaib, right? Like he says it in the movie.
Blind and like he's just like some of the stuff, like no matter what Paul does, he's just like, this is prophesized. He's the Messiah. Like everything is, he's like hook, line, and sinker on it
because he believes, right, and that's the whole point of the book and all that stuff. Like the power of belief is that strong. It means everything. But like for run the risk of talking about this forever because I will talk about this again. I love the movie. I love the characters. I love what they did. I love the soundtrack. I love the cinematography. Their use of CGI was spot on almost the entire. There's only one scene in the movie where the CGI was like, but the rest of it was fantastic. So it didn't take me out of it. There's a scene where those copters are coming in, killing everybody. Like when they attack the Fremen, like when Fade takes over. There's one scene where they're like shooting everything up and collapsing a building that looks kind of off that I don't like. But other than that, everything else was fantastic. I love the knife fight. It was the shit. I loved it so much. And this is the last thing I'll say right now. And like Will, if you ever listen to this, like you told me I would like this, and you were spot on. Every single time Paul or Timothy Chalamet like yells in the movie, like every time he yells in the movie, screams, whatever, I'm 100%. I'm on board. I'm buying it. It feels. I can feel it in my chest.
I don't remember what.
Not when he's doing. Not when he's doing the voice.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The voice. When he does the voice, I'm like, oh shit. Okay, you got my attention too. Like, because it's not overused. It's very powerful when he uses it. You're like, oh shit, he's serious.
But no, just when he fully embraces being the Lisan Al Gaib, like when he embraces being Muad'Dib and stuff, like even so for an example, as early as in the movie when he's talking to his mom and he's talking to her about how their people, did the Fremen dirty and how they killed a bunch of people and this and that. And she was like, well, that was the price of freedom. He was like, that's not freedom. Like when he goes off on her, I was like, God damn. Yeah, Jessica, that shit ain't freedom. You stupid. Like I loved it. I was in. I was 100%.
Maybe she'll redeem herself for me. I don't know why I didn't vibe with her, really.
I don't know either, but like, that was like, But we'll move on though. We'll move on. There's so much. I
asked the wife to rate it, and first she said a 9.2, and then she changed it and she said or a 9.5 and gave me a thinking face. So it's pretty much on par with yours. Like she's I think her only complaint was she wishes kind of they would have even made it like the first book would have had 3 parts, just for like she said there could have been more they could have went in detail on and like all that.
That's fair.
I think that's her only complaint. I don't really know. I'll try to find out for the next episode what her full complaints are, and maybe notes that she'll come and discuss. We're
talking about movies, so I'm just gonna keep moving, just because we're gonna run out of time. But for those of you who don't know, the Batman. Obviously, I love that movie, The Batman Part 2. Can't wait to see that. It has been postponed. It got delayed, so that's not coming out. It's supposed to come out next year. But now it's not coming out until 2026 and fall 2026. So I'm assuming it's going to be October when it comes out. That just makes the most sense. But it does suck that we have to wait another year. That's what happened with the Batman initially because it was supposed to come out, I think, a year before it actually did come out. So like we're par for the course. We're used to it. It sucks, but here we are. And I knew that it was going to get postponed because they hadn't showed us like anything from the movie, not the script, not the plot, not any behind the scenes, nothing. So I just figured it was going to get postponed. We did have that news come out. Sad day, but it happened. And then I
We get
also
the
wanted to
Penguin
talk
show this
about,
year, though. I believe,
yeah, the Penguin
unless they
Max
postpone
show's
it. But
supposed to be
I
coming
think
out.
HBO advertised it as like their 2024 shows was Penguin.
Yeah, that's supposed to be coming out for sure. Um, but like I said, to keep it moving, I was going to talk about for movies. I did watch a trailer for a movie that dropped today that's coming out, and I have some thoughts. I'm sure you have some thoughts. But the trailer that dropped today was for The Crow, which is being remade from the 90s. And we got a picture of what Skarsgård's character looks like, and I've seen a lot of people joking on him and the comparisons to him looking like the Joker from Suicide Squad. What's his name? Jared Leto, which we just talked about earlier. Uh, I, I can't lie. He looks like he is cosplaying Jared Leto's Joker in the movie, and
With a
I'm
mullet.
not a fan of that.
With a mullet.
Yeah, with the mullet, but it's not like a mullet. It's like a edgelord mullet that you would see from like 2015. It's not.
I really like Skarsgård, Bill Skarsgård. I really do.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
do.
here's the
The
thing.
images did not excite me. I'm gonna be honest. Did I roast them and go all in? No. Again, I'm gonna stay open minded. But when I think of the Crow, Brandon Lee's Crow is forever etched in my mind as that's what the Crow looks like. The longer, dark hair, the white face paint, like with the black, lines on the eyes, and then seeing this, I was like, he doesn't. The Crow looks. He almost looks more like a villain you would beat up in a video game.
Mhm.
Bill Skarsgård, like
Mhm.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm inclined to agree with that. This is what I'll say about it. Like The Crow, the movie that we all grew up with, in the 90s. It's a fantastic movie. It's a cult classic, but it's not necessarily like a great, well acted movie, right? That's for being honest.
Yeah.
It's just not. Um, that movie also like the characterization. It's a revenge film, right? Like so you know what you're getting. And we've seen revenge films all over the place. One of the best ones, one of the most notable ones being John Wick, right? The first one. Then you have stories like Django, even another really good example. So you know what you're getting when it comes to those revenge films and like what they can be. Um, I did see the trailer, and to keep my thoughts quick and concise, I am more excited than I was when I just saw the still image, but I'm still not excited.
Yeah.
There's a lot of CGI in this, which I'm not a fan of, especially when it's not done like Dune Part 2. There's a lot of CGI
Practical
blood.
effects.
There's a lot of CGI blood in this movie, and CGI blood is the quickest way to piss me off. Like I just don't like it. Blood is like the easiest special effect to do. It's pre-made, dog. Like you buy it in milk cartons at this point. So like to have CGI blood in this, I'm not a fan. But there are scenes. Sid, I don't know if you've seen the trailer yet, but there are just scenes in the movie where he's like getting shot in the chest, right? And it's CGI blood, CGI blood. Now they have like practical effects blood like in the film. Don't get me wrong, but like I just don't like the fake blood splatter when somebody gets shot in the movie. It just takes me out immediately. And same with if somebody gets stabbed in the CGI blood, like it takes me out of the thing immediately because blood is like the cheapest, easiest, uh, you know, practical effect to do. But his voice is weird. He has like an accent in this that I don't know what it is. I don't like the song choice for the trailer. I'm not gonna lie. Like no disrespect to Ozzy Osbourne, but I am not feeling that song for the trailer. So it's just not gripping me. You know what I'm saying? And then the other thing I'll say is a lot of people are talking mad shit about how ugly he looks as the Crow, like how stupid he looks, how he's a cosplay version of Joker. Yes. I agree with a lot of that stuff. aside from Brandon Lee, all the other actors who portrayed the Crow look really stupid. All of them look dumb. All the
Have you seen
sequels,
the one it's like showing all the different crows and it's like not my crow, not my crow, not my crow, and then it's Brandon Lee, it's like crow.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
I mean that's essentially
they
none of
yeah,
them
they
look
all look
like
bad.
Brandon Lee. They all are not
Yeah,
great.
and to be fair, Brandon Lee's Crow looks the best because he he looks more so like the comic book character, right? Um, and I haven't read all of the comic
It's
book
a
just
crazy
because
thought.
it's
Why don't people
super
just do it like the comic book and keep it to the source material? I don't know. You would think.
like that's exactly what I was getting into. I haven't read all of The Crow because the story was super wordy, and at the time I was reading it, I just wasn't prepared to read a story that was that dense
Yeah.
for a comic. So that's what happened. And then the art style, like I like the art style, don't get me wrong, but I just wasn't ready for a black and white manga looking story. That's not a manga, by the way. But I just wasn't ready for it when I was reading it. So I only read about half of it, and I don't remember how. Been years. It was like high school when I was reading it. So there is that. But like I said, the trailer isn't garbage, but it wasn't good either. It felt like a popcorn revenge movie. Is the best way I can describe it. So hopefully I'll get more excited about it. I mean, it's a movie that I'll definitely see,
I'll
but
watch it.
I'm not rushing.
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
watch
rushing
it,
to the
but I
theater.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like garbage, but it doesn't look very good either. So we'll just see what happens.
Yeah.
But moving on, I wanted to talk really, really quickly. The book that I mentioned on the last episode, I have in here somewhere. But Brothers by Anya Albright. I finished that book. I did really enjoy it. It's a horror novel about a family of serial killers. I think I explained this on the last episode. The youngest of the family, Michael, doesn't want to be like the family, and that's really all I can say without dipping into spoilers. Really quickly, I'll say I finished that book. I read it. That was like the quickest I read a book in a while. Like I think it took me. I read pretty slow. Just so for context, I read kind of slow, and it took me the better part of a week to read that, like Monday through Friday, and it was done. Not including the weekend. I didn't read anything on the weekend. I read it during the week, and I enjoyed it. I blew through it. It was a quick read. It was a fun read. Some trigger warnings if you need them for stories like that. There are some violent acts going on in that, but I really liked it, and it made me want to read more from that author. But a lot of the stories that she writes don't really seem like my cup of tea. I think I read another one already that I've mentioned on this podcast called Seed, and I enjoyed that one. That was really really good. I think that's the best one in my opinion that she's written aside from Brother. But Brother was really good. I enjoyed the book. I recommend it to anybody who wants a nice horror read. It's not too big. It's not too dense. And the story just moves along. They just move that shit down. The easiest way I can describe it is imagine Sam and Dean Winchester from Supernatural, but there are no demons or monsters. They're just dicks. Dean is a total abusive piece of shit, and Sam is just like a little bitch. Like that's the easiest way to describe the characters in this book. That's how I imagined them. That was their voice for me. That was their look for me when I was, reading the book, and it worked out perfectly. But with that said, we're gonna just keep it moving.
Yeah, we are
Since we're
very
talking about
low
books,
on time. We have
they're super low. So I got like there are a couple things
like
that I
running
wanted to
over
get
low.
into, but we are, like I said, out of time. So I want to talk about one thing really quick. I wanted to hop back on games. I
Oh
wanted to
god.
talk about Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League.
Oh god.
My thoughts on that game.
It's on sale right now.
I know we
Just saying.
it's on sale right now. It's on sale for a reason.
I want to play.
I know that we briefly talked about it last week, and a lot of people played it, like the story, blah blah blah. Like, bro, the way that here, I'm not spoiling this. It's in the name of the game. The whole point of the game is that you kill the Justice League. That's what you do. You straight up kill the Justice League. The way that you kill the Justice League in this game is straight dog water. It's garbage. It's so stupid. It's so lame. Like I swear to God, the first leaguer, right, that you kill is the Flash. And you want let me just throw this on you. Fastest man alive. You want to know how you kill him? He gets shot. He just gets shot, and he falls. Like, swear to God, this pin that I'm holding for people watching it on YouTube. Flash gets shot. He just falls over. That's the end. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else to it. That's it. That's what you have to expect from killing the Justice League. Like that's what you get. So if you are okay with this group of ragtag comedic characters literally shooting the world's finest heroes in this universe anyway, like just shooting them and that's it. Like I can kind of let it go with like Batman getting shot because he's just a dude. At the end of the day, Batman's just somebody's dad in a suit that has too much money. But like Flash, you're just gonna shoot the Flash and we're done. Okay. All right. Whatever.
So it's on sale, Christian. You should totally get it so we can play it.
It's on sale because they need people like me to shut up. They need people like you who haven't played the game to buy the game so that in another month and a half they can sell you they can get you to play it so that you will download their free DLC so that you can play as the Joker.
I mean, I want to play as a Joker just to play as a Joker. That sounds fun to me. To be the Joker? You're telling me you don't want to play as a Joker. You know damn good and well if you played that game, you'd be like, I'm going to be the Joker. Nah. You could be King Shark. I'm going to be Joker.
King Shark, sure.
Now you're going to tell me to be King Shark so you can be the Joker. I know what you're going to do.
I think that this is the last thing I'll say about this. With a game like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, you're giving me a character to play as for free that I can download. The best you can do is the Joker. He's in like every goddamn video game there is at this point. And that's who you're going to give. It's not even regular. This is like an alternate universe Joker. So he's like 20 years old. He looks like he's a GQ model and he's got a fresh coat of paint on his face. That's who we're playing. That's the best you can do. Like you couldn't like dig deep into the well of DC characters and pull out another person that we could play as. That's the best villain you got. Like they might as well have said, yeah, we're going to give you Peacemaker for free. Like at least probably he's like in the zeitgeist right now. Probably.
They just dropped on
he just dropped on Mortal Kombat. Apparently he's fun and kind of broken, but Mortal Kombat, like that's a whole nother conversation for another day.
One thing about Mortal Kombat is maybe when doing these live, once we wrap the pod, maybe me and Christian will play Mortal Kombat or something. Maybe we'll play some games after pod when Christian's available. Or maybe we'll just sit here and shoot the shit with you all in live chat after we record. You know,
absolutely.
We may react. That's something I've considered is you guys give us some stuff to react to. Obviously not stuff that's going to get us in trouble and bad, but, give us like things and get our reaction to them. Could be trailers. It could be whatever.
Yeah. With that said, guys, we're running out of time. There are other things.
Do we need to make a part 3 of what we've been up to?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think we need to necessarily make a part 3. We just need to been up to a lot, and these 2 parts give you a good example.
We didn't even talk about the fact that Halloween TV show is apparently going to happen. That is for the next episode. There you go. Oh. Here we go. Get ready for an hour of that, probably.
There's so much going on. But Sin, your favorite movie, its sequel is coming out. Or did it already come out, actually? I think it already. No. It's dropping. It's dropping in like a week and a half, and that is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey Part 2. That's coming out. That was your favorite.
That was shout out to, I don't know if he listens or not, Titans Rider. Titans Rider, for probably as long as I've known him, has told me to watch a movie. It's a very B movie. And when I say B movie, I'm not saying B lightly. Heavy on the B.
Ooh.
And he has sworn I need to watch this movie for forever. Well, he finally just like brought the Blu-ray to me and was like, watch it. I watched it. It's Bloodsuckers from Outer Space.
Oh, wow.
And it, I mean, When I say it's B, but good God. It looks like me and Christian like took some blue-green paint and put it on some people's faces and were like, you're essentially a vampire zombie thing from outer space. Go. Like it.
Wow.
Oh my God. But it's that B
Wow.
goodness that you know when it starts or when you get into it, you're like, this is going to be awful. But you also are laughing and there's different lines. You're like, oh my God. So yeah. All right.
Just the name alone.
Yeah, it's wild. But there's a lot more for
Yeah.
us to talk about. A lot of topics, a lot of stuff.
Oh,
Deadpool.
real
We didn't even
quick-
talk about Deadpool.
real
There's a
quick.
Deadpool trailer. We'll talk about that. I'm
Yeah,
sure,
there's
next week.
Deadpool trailer. Real quick before you leave, the other day, at the time of this recording, it's Pi Day as well at the time of this recording. So happy Pi Day! I'm gonna go use it as soon as it's done. But
What kind of pie you getting?
I got cherry because that's my favorite.
Cherry
But
pie?
cherry pie. Anyway, they announced that Scream 7 is happening.
That's a whole
but
nother
not-
conversation I'm avoiding because
Nope, it's quick.
no.
Even though it's
there is
happening,
no quickness.
We're getting
in
Nev
this
Campbell
hiatus,
back.
The world of Scream 7 literally collapsed upon itself, and they are trying to build it back from the ashes. Like this,
Yeah,
I don't know
they're
what-
trying. They pulled a desperate move, and they're bringing back Nev Campbell. But not only they're bringing back, the director of this movie is going to be Josh Williamson, who wrote the original trilogy, the first three. And at first I was super happy about it, but then I remembered he is not a director. He is a writer, and he did not write this film. So this movie is most likely going to be garbage. And
It's gonna be
the
bad.
only movie that he has ever directed, let me say that one more time. The only movie that he has ever directed is this movie that is absolute dog shit, and it's called Teaching Miss Tingle. Do yourself a favor and just read about it. Don't watch it because it's trash. So that's all. That was it. That's all I got.
It's. I'm not excited for Scream. Like I'm not.
Which is sad because Ghostface is like my second favorite of all time.
I felt like they were doing something pretty good. I was enjoying 5 and 6. Like I enjoyed the movies. Were there stuff that I wasn't crazy about? Yeah, but I actually enjoyed watching them. And I was excited. I was like, where are we going to go with this? Like, where are we going to take the franchise now? Where are we moving? And now it just literally collapsed on itself. And now they're trying to pick up the pieces. And I think it's going to be a train wreck. I honestly do.
And that's where you fucked up. You believed in it. And now look.
This is what happens. I just need to stop believing in horror franchises that have been around because they just ultimately just crush my dreams.
The only thing you got to look forward to is Terrifier 3. That's and maybe Nosferatu. That's about it.
Ooh, I forgot about Nosferatu. I haven't seen Terrifier 2 yet.
Oh shit, you should hop on that.
I know. I need to watch it. Like it's a must. I mean, Art is literally right there. He's like in my background. But okay, we're gonna derail because I'm gonna start talking about Art the Clown and horror icon. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this episode. We don't have a last call question because we're saving those since we've been doing a catch up for next week. We will be doing we'll be doing this live, so we'll be getting last call questions from the chat. So that'll be fun and hopefully go well. We'll see how that goes. But every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Central Time episodes are back. We are back at it. You can tune in Apple, Spotify, Anchor.fm, all that stuff. Listen to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, subscribe to it, follow it, spread it, share it to a friend. Help us grow. We appreciate you all for listening. Huge shout out to Yobi. I saw you commenting on stuff and also retweeting. Really appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. On the inside, if you're listening, he informed me it was the most excited he's been getting in his car after he saw there was a new episode to go home from work in a long time. And I was like, well, that made me feel good. But yeah, we appreciate you all. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting. And we're happy to be back. And we have more stuff to talk about next week. As you can tell, a lot of stuff is probably going to piss Christian off. So,
Oh yeah.
you don't have to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. It's time that we shut it down for this week. And we will see you guys next week. Christian, do your thing.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into yet another episode of Sipping with Sin. Be sure to leave a 5-star review, hit that like button, do all the YouTube stuff, do all the podcast stuff. We just want to make sure you guys are listening. We want to give you more of what you
Follow on the socials.
tell
Sippin'
us.
With Sin.
All on the social. Sipping with Sin. If you guys want to find me, it's Vin and Ink on Instagram, all one word, and on the TikTokies, it is Christian Vincent, all one word. Unless they ban us, But yeah, we're doing that. And guys, I'm gonna leave you with 3 words. 3 words I leave you with on every podcast episode. If you know those 3 words, say them with me. If you don't know them, listen up because they could save your life. And those words are as follows: don't get gutted.
See you guys next week. If you want to watch live, kick.com/IamSinister. Come hang out with us and talk to us. See you guys.